is flawed. Now let me repeat what I've just said to you. That 100% of every drop of, quote, evidence they have on what drugs you should take and how much is flawed. Do you know why? They've never used female animals or females in the studies. They've used males in the studies. So what that means is it would literally take trillions of dollars of research money and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of new researchers. So every drug that the pharmaceutical tells a woman to take should be absolutely immediately, as of today or as of 2 months ago, completely suspect. And why they made an excuse is women had hormones and we didn't get the number results we'd like. Rather than, my God, why should we be dosing women when we don't know how much a woman needs? Now, what I said, does that at all concern any of you here, or did it sort of go in one ear and out the other? It should concern you, because more than half the population are females. There are mothers. Heart disease used to be synonymous with the male population. As time passed, women have now equaled men in numbers via their ever-eroding lifestyles. Women used to hang out at home. You were nesters. You took care of the children. You sort of had some good sense. You didn't eat at fast food restaurants. You didn't smoke cigarettes at the level we did or drink alcohol. Now women are told that if you want to be equal, you have to act like a man. That's stupidity. Act like a woman and ask for respect. That's what you need to do. Don't act like a man. We have enough men. Look what we've done so far. And that's what you have to do. But you're acting like us and you're getting as sick as us. As a matter of fact, in some areas of the world, women have more heart attacks and strokes than men do. Because you're superseding what a man does just to get a little bit of respect. A recent study reported in our most prestigious journal of medicine in North America, the New England Journal of Medicine, stated that consuming one alcoholic beverage of any type per day on a consistent basis raises your risk of developing all forms of cancer by 10%. Now, you know what studies you hear that they feed to the Irish people? Oh, we did a study, and if you drink alcohol, you live longer. Who the hell do you think funds those studies? And the alcohol in beer is the same alcohol you get in whiskey. So a lot of the Irish I know say, well, I don't drink, I drink beer. What the hell do you think it is? Every cup of beer has a shot of whiskey in it. And that's a literal statement. That's not an opinion. So you can be a drunk on 2 beers a day if you need them every single day, just as much as 2 shots of whiskey, because you're drinking the same amount of alcohol. 2 drinks per day increase the risk by 30%. Again, what is alcohol if I analyze it? Sugar. Matter of fact, I can't make sugar sweeter than giving you alcohol. And I don't buy into the geneticists. I don't believe most of what they said. Yesterday, I actually, in Birmingham, gave the history of human diet and literally showed how false it was and showed exactly the migration patterns and why some of us do what we do. Because we know the real history of anthropology. But the anthropologists have been saying, along with the geneticists, oh, well, the Irish are predisposed and the Germans are and the English are to drinking. No, we're not. We're sugar addicts. This country, when we were starving, we sustained on bread and potatoes, which are sugar. Our bodies got used to the sugar content. And it's not a stretch of the imagination to want the most sugar you can get in the shortest time by taking some whiskey and shoving it down your throat or something. So this is the pattern, not genetics. You don't become genetically an alcoholic. That's stupidity, if you believe that. Another leading cancer journal reports that 3 to 4 alcoholic beverages per week increases the risk of breast cancer by 34%. And we know this. When we talk to the women, we become intimately knowledgeable about the lifestyles of our guests. They spend 21 days with us. We're not in a doctor's office for 5 minutes rushing it out. We're speaking to people over a 21-day period, and 80% of our guests return. I know more about most of the guests that come back to Hippocrates than I do my own family. Because we do every major test you can. We just added in the last 3 months extraordinary testing called CyberScan and energy biofrequency testing from Russia. And what we learned from that stuns us, to be honest with you. Not only tells us why you have a problem, where the problem comes from, but what problem you'll have if you don't change. And the Russian technology, I just did a Skype with him with my team last Wednesday morning before I got on a plane to come abroad. And this Russian has been working on it. He's a man my age, a little older than me actually, working on this for 35 years. And now we found ways to study the energetic fields of different segments of your body to show on the right side when it's off, it's emotional, on the left side it's physical, and it predicts decades ahead of time what diseases you're going to be prone to. This is the future of medicine. But you're not going to hear about this anytime soon. In the women who develop breast cancer, you already have breast cancer, and continue to drink, there is a 51% increase in death. Now, how come I'm telling you this? How many of you here have had breast cancer? Raise your hand. So the room is filled with it. Has one doctor ever said to you, don't ever smell alcohol, or less don't drink it? If this is evidence in research, solid empirical research, why isn't that part of the dialogue? Because the doctor doesn't know what's going on in research. The frustration I had last weekend with these brilliant researchers is they almost all cried. Because we listen to them. Nobody's listening to them. One guy came in with papers that high, with studies he had been part of publishing for the last 40 years. And what Dr. Yu and I said is, we can't just talk to one another anymore. We've got to get the public to know what really is going on. But there is a monster machine suppressing that information, suppressing that you shouldn't be drinking. And I think if the average person who has some common sense was like, hey, you realize you're going to get cancer 30 times more if you take a few drinks a week. You'd think the second time before you slug down a beer. You'd think the second time, certainly if you already have cancer, that you have over half better chance of dying from breast cancer if you drink. A tumor is like a car, a gas-guzzling Hummer, with a stuck accelerator and no brakes. The insulin keeps the gas tank full. This is Thomas Jefferson University, one of our great research institutes in America. And that's what your body is like. Proper fuel. 2 moderate green salads would provide enough glucose as a fuel to the cells for a 200-pound, 90-kilo person. So you say, well, I need to have sugar because it's a good thing. Eat 2 green salads a day, you have all the sugar a 90-kilo person needs. Now, most of you here aren't 90 kilos. Just the guys that hang out in the pubs are. But the reality is, if you took a salad and a half, or a salad for the petite ones in here, anything beyond that is too much sugar for the body. Chlorella. This stuff's miraculous. Today in England and tomorrow here in Dublin, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take 20 chlorella. I'm going to also take 4 other types of algae. Why? These are primal foods. Massive protein. Easy to digest. They come in, give you nutrition, and leave the body. These are the kind of things you need to hear about. Not the 91% of supplements on the market that will kill you. Most supplements on the market are made out of oil, coal tar, and turpentine. They are dangerous for you. Not only do they not affect you in a positive way, they deflect from your health. These are whole food, living supplementation. Don't waste your money on the nonsense and the propaganda. Even the, quote, natural doctors have been corrupted into believing. If you're interested in truth, some of you are. The Irish are usually pretty good at that. Read my book, Supplements Exposed, and see another area. Even the natural health industry is conduit. It's not just the evil empire, because guess what? 80% of supplements originated in the pharmaceuticals industry. 80% of supplements originated in a pharmaceutical company. And then it's sold, the raw material quite often, put in the bottle by 2 loving people who are great at words. And they say, dear brothers and sisters, let's save the earth as you're polluting your system and weakening your immune system by putting a deadly chemical into you. But I'm a major fan of supplements like chlorella. Look what it does. Excellent source of protein. Matter of fact, 52% protein. Nothing even comes close to that, other than another algae, blue-green algae. 52% protein. Red meat, if you slaughter it and drink the blood immediately, is 19% protein. Helps with blood sugar regulation. So for years, I'm not that smart. I yell a lot, but I'm not that smart. And so for years when I was working with diabetics, I was telling them, take sprout juice or wheatgrass, which are complete proteins, and drink it, and it will regulate your blood sugar because of this high protein, and you'll get better. But how many people can stop their workday and make sprout shoots in it? And finally, about 25 years ago, I woke up and said, my God, just tell them to take chlorella. Put it in your purse, put it in your pocket, put it in the plastic, and take it, and you regulate blood sugar. So where it used to take us 2 months to 6 months to reverse type 2 diabetes, now I'm seeing it in 2 days, 2 weeks, and 1 month because of this. The other thing is, overeaters like I was, food addicts, sugar addicts. It's good to say you shouldn't do it, but if you're an addict, it's like telling a heroin addict who doesn't get it to stop taking heroin. We're not going to stop. We'll find new ways to do it. My trick was I gave up white sugar and took up honey. That was my trick. Because the health book said honey's not sugar. It's sugar. Yeah. Then, when I learned that, I took up maple syrup. Yeah. It was like a guy saying, well, I drink whiskey, I'll just go to wine. Oh, well, wine's not. Well, okay, I'll go to beer. That's exactly what it's like. May be helpful before chemotherapy. If you're enduring nuclear bombing of your body, and that's what it is, it's no different than what happened in Hiroshima in the Second World War. Oh, yes, it is. It's much stronger. Let me say that. It's much stronger than what they got in Hiroshima. Then basically, you better do something to protect your body, and this is the kind of thing that you do. Back in the back, I don't know if they have it here, but years ago I created something, if you're enduring chemotherapy, called Chemozin. If you're enduring radiation, because you never get well from it, you just endure it at best. Then you take something called Interowitz. And these are things because we know that every time you take nuclear bombs and stick them into your body, be it radiation or chemotherapy, you're going to destroy, for every 1 cancer cell that dies, 1,000 healthy cells. And that's why 93% of the people eventually die and don't change their lifestyle from these ungodly treatments that I promise you, a generation or 2 from now, we're going to say, you mean to tell me people who have a disease, you bomb them? Who came up with that brilliant idea? The same guy that thought leeching was a good thing? By the way, leeching is much more civilized than that. Leeching may seem a little weird to you. I think bombing the body with nuclear waste is a little bit weirder than that. Stevia. That's the answer. I wish I had that. Because it took me a long time to get rid of the sugar. A long time. I'd be good, and then I'd be really bad. And I'd be good, and I'd be really, really, really bad. Then I'd be really, really, really bad and good occasionally. That's not fun. You know, it's hard to get over this because it's everywhere. It's available. You go to the health store. Most, quote, products in a health store are riddled with sugar. But they trick you. It's not sugar, it's called xylitol. It's sugar. It's not sugar, it's called honey. It's not sugar, it's called maple syrup. It's sugar. The body doesn't distinguish it there. It doesn't say, here comes the bad guy, white sugar, and all the rest are good because I paid more money for it. It doesn't say that. And stevia is available. I think they even may have some here. I mean, that breaks people. That's been a godsend to us. Because it actually, gram for gram, is 100 times sweeter than sugar. So you need a pinch of it, and you think, your body thinks, wow, I'm getting sugar, but it has no negative effect. It doesn't feed cancer, it doesn't feed diabetes, it doesn't feed viruses, it doesn't feed bacteria, it doesn't feed osteoporosis, it doesn't feed any disease. Matter of fact, there are evidential studies done globally that show it helps to regulate diabetic and low blood sugar conditions. These are poisons. You've got to get your head around this. And the first step in recovering from an addiction is realizing that you're poisoning yourself. If what I said to you either provokes you or pisses you off today, that's not enough. You've got to act on this now. You've got to act on it. Just like I remember years ago, we did an intervention with my drunk uncle, who, by the way, would drink every single week, his salary away, and his 6 children were starving to death. And the family was supporting him. And we went in and we did an intervention. Before they were called interventions, by the way. I was just a boy in those days. I remember my uncle saying, I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem. I'll never forget that, I don't have a problem. And he died of this problem, and his children almost died of starvation in the problem. You've got to realize you have a problem. There's not one of us in this room, including Dr. Anna Maria and Dr. Brian Clement, who are not sugar addicts. There are a few of us, a handful of us here, that are recovering sugar addicts, but we're sugar addicts. Then the rest of you who are bullshitting yourself are just active addicts. And so you want to be an active addict, you want to clear up your life. And that's the proposition I'm asking you now. Look at this one. Things that make you go, How could it be that aspartame was once on the Pentagon's list of biological warfare chemicals, but now is supposed to be safe as a food additive? Want me to tell you the politics that surrounded that? Remember Saint Ronald Reagan? One of the worst presidents we've ever had. They canonized him after his death. The guy had Alzheimer's half the way through his presidency. He invaded small countries and gave them drugs and traded drugs for guns, and now he's a great American president. We rewrite history all the time. I'm sure if you took a lot of this Irish history and embellished it a bit too. But the fact of the matter is, he had a guy that worked for him, not called Reagan, but Reagan. How many of you remember that history? Reagan. And Reagan was whispered to by the chemical industry that the end of the Reagan administration is coming, and if you want to make $2 million a year as a consultant before the administration is done, take aspartame off the list as a biological weapon and allow us to put it into food as an additive. One man for $2 million a year for 15 years straight poisoned the human race. I have a book on my medical shelf, this thick, this large, called Aspartame Poisoning. It starts with variations in breast cancer and works down through 70% of all the diseases known to man. And we know the pathways, scientifically have figured out the pathways of how it causes brain cancer, cardiovascular disease, neuropathies in the body. This is creating paralysis in the body. And you're drinking this in diet sodas. Ironically, every study ever done on diet sodas where aspartame is shows that people who drink the diet soda generally at the end of the year weigh 12 pounds more than people who take straight sodas. Now, I'm not suggesting to drink straight sodas. I'm just showing you it's futile. My mother was a perfect example of that. The non-drinking drunk. That she would sit at the table with cake, but with the diet soda. And I'd say to my mother, why are you eating cake? Well, I have a diet soda. You get it? Ants don't need biomedical confirmation for the fact that aspartame is toxic. Look at this. This is actually what happens. They tested this on creatures and animals who, by the way, still do have common sense. They still do have instinct. They're not doped up on food and being conned by industry. And when they see aspartame, not like you, that gulp it down thinking it's good for you, they actually avoid it. Look at how far those little ants go from there. It's like shocking, isn't it? And we say we're the smartest creature. I think we ought to reevaluate that one again. Honest to God. The usual route of travel for cancer is to the bone, brain, vital organs like the lung and liver. How do these cells get injured? There are 3 categories of carcinogens in our environment, and they harm our somatic cells. Chemical carcinogens, which is